welcome to our kitchen. Today is a really special day. It's our son Andrew's birthday, and for their birthdays every year we have always allowed them to kind of choose the menu, and he wanted ice cream cake for his birthday cake. And this is something that you could go to a store and buy, but we are going to make one with everything that he likes in it. And it takes a few steps, but they're pretty easy steps. So watch what we're going to do. The first thing you need to do is take a springform pan, and that's one of those pans that have the little latch there, so that when you open up this latch, it releases and the bottom comes out. It's really important that you have one of these because for the ice cream, once it sets in there, you don't want to have to deal with it or cut it out or anything. So this will just release and we'll pull it out and the bottom stays put. So what you'll want to do first is take a little shortening, and this is just so we can flour the bottom of the pan because we start with a cake layer. And we're going to flour, put shortening. You can also use butter if you want on this, if you don't have shortening. But you just kind of grease down the sides of the pan and the bottom of the pan. And then some people may not know how to do this, so that's why we're showing you. This is called greasing and flouring a pan, and a lot of cake recipes call for that. So once you have it fully kind of greased down, slicked down there, you just add your flour. It doesn't have to be an exact measurement. And then just kind of tap the sides as you turn the pan. And then you just spin it around so you get it down there on the bottom. We just need it on the lower, really half of this, because the cake layer will only rise about halfway up. So with that excess, you want to dump that. And so you can just kind of get rid of it however you best. You know, you might flour your counter a little, but that's okay. All right, and then we're ready for the cake layers, or the cake batter. So I'll show you how to do that. We are ready for the batter. So it's going to be a chocolate cake, and we start with 1.5 cups of flour. We have 1 cup of sugar, and then 1/3 cup of cocoa. So it's powdered cocoa. And to that, we're going to add a teaspoon of baking soda, about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then we have 1 cup of water. To that, we're going to add 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. And if you put the water in your cup first, and then you add the vegetable oil, it'll come out really fast and it'll be easier to clean up. So that's just a little trick. Also, if you start with oil and you have something sticky, start with the oil first, and then if you have an ingredient like molasses or something, start with the oil, and the oil will let everything slide out. So that's a good trick also. A teaspoon of vinegar, and then a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. Do not skimp on that. Oops, if you go overboard, that's really great because it's great flavor. Okay, and then we're just going to mix that around for about 1 minute. So we'll take it over to our handy machine, ready to go over here. Start it on stir so everything doesn't fly up at you. And then you can get it going a little faster here. I'm going to grab a spatula, and after just maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds of it spinning around, you want to stop it and kind of scrape the sides and get down there at the bottom, and then we'll start it all over. And we don't want to make it a tough cake, so you don't want to over stir. So make sure you do get the sides though, or you're going to have lumps. Okay, about another 30 seconds. And this, of course, is just the bottom layer. So this is going to take about a half an hour in a 350 oven. And when you take it out, you have to let it cool for an hour. So you want to start this pretty early in the day, or even make this cake a day ahead, which might even be easier. All right, so we're going to stop it there. It's mixed around enough. And this is what we used to always fight over when we were kids, and my kids have always wanted to lick the spatula or the blades or whatever, and my mom used to let us do that all the time. You're right, that's a childhood treat that kids should not be neglected of, I think. Okay, it looks great. So we're gonna get this all scraped into the bowl and then sit in the 350 oven. 350 oven, stick in the middle of the rack, and half an hour. Test it after about 30 minutes. You just press lightly on the top, and if it springs back up, it's ready to go. So we'll show you how that looks. The buzzer went off, and we're gonna check our cake. So a couple ways you can do this. You can punch down here on the center with your finger. Not punch, that might be a little hard, but just press lightly. You can see how it's kind of springing back nicely, or you can do the toothpick test too and stick it right in the middle. And if it comes out cleanly, which it has, it's not gooey, it's ready to go. So we're gonna take that out. It's risen really nicely, looks great. So we're gonna let that cool for at least an hour, and then I'll show you what we do for the next step. All right, our cake has cooled off for about an hour, and we have some hot fudge topping. You find that in the section of the store where they sell toppings for ice cream. And we have to get it to a consistency where we can spread it. So I'm just gonna put it in the microwave for about 20 seconds. And then I'll stir it up, see how it looks, and we can stick it back in there if it's not quite the right consistency. Okay, this is after 35 seconds in the microwave. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to just pour that on our cake. This is that yummy fudgy center that you get if you've ever had one of those store-bought ice cream cakes, or one that's from an ice cream shop. That famous one we all know of. All right. This is an offset spatula, which is perfect for something like this. It's called an offset spatula because it has a little bend in it. And it's perfect for spreading because it has that bend, and you can just easily get in there with it. Okay. It's looking pretty good. So now, spread that pretty evenly. We stick it back in the freezer until it's set. I'm guessing that's going to maybe be half an hour at the most. And then we're going to add the ice cream layer. Okay. Got our cake in the freezer, and it's chilling. Now I've softened a 1.5 quart container of ice cream, and we just have vanilla, which I think is best because we're adding lots of goodies to it. But if you wanted to really go decadent, you could add chocolate as well. So this has been sitting out about 10 minutes and looks like it's just about the right consistency. You want to be able to spread or add your ingredients and kind of stir it together. So this is just nice homemade vanilla. That's what the box says. Obviously, it's not really homemade. We have some of our son's favorite candies, little Snickers, and we're going to just kind of dice those up like this. You can use whatever candy you want to use. This is just what our son loves, and he actually loves to stick Snickers in the freezer and get them nice and cold anyway, so he's gonna love this cake. Okay, so I have the malted milk balls that I've added to our Ziploc bag, and it's a heavy duty freezer bag. And then I'm just gonna take a rolling pin and beat these pretty mightily here. Take out some aggression, because you want them smashed. Perfect. And you want them various sizes too, so that's just about perfect. So we're gonna add that to the ice cream as well. And then you're just going to stir them into your ice cream. And then we're going to layer it on our fudge layer, which is on our cake layer. So this is a really special treat. This isn't something you want to eat every day, but you definitely want to give your family something really special for your for their birthdays, and this is something our son's gonna love. Great that looks. It's been sitting in the freezer for about a little over half an hour. Now I'm just going to spoon this ice cream on top. And then I have my offset spatula that I'll be putting into use again. Just spread this evenly. Make sure we get all that great stuff in there. Maybe with a little leftover, look at the bowl. Hate it when that happens, when you have to get in there and get some of that stuff in the bowl. It's a shame. Okay, so we're going to spread this nicely. And you can tell it's just going to come right very close to the top here, which is perfect. This is going to be one big cake. So this is also nice if you're having a pretty large family function. This is perfect for that because you will not eat a big slice of this cake. It's pretty rich, so you'll get quite a few slices out of it. All right, how great does that look? I'm excited to see the final result. You're gonna freeze this about 4 hours, and we'll show you how that looks after it's frozen and the final touches that we're gonna add to the top, which are pretty special. So like I said, there are quite a few layers here, but they're really super easy. So you gotta try making this. All right, we've taken our cake out of the freezer. This is what it looks like. We put this plastic wrap on top just so it keeps kind of those freezer, that freezer taste out of there. And I'm gonna open the springform pan, hopefully. Might be a little frozen. There we go. And carefully just kind of lift it. Like that, looks great. All right, so now we have some whipped cream we're gonna add to the top. And this is just gonna be the base for the topping, which will be more of our crushed candy. Just wanna spread that out real smooth over the top. Just to make a nice, pretty white, fluffy base. Okay, and then I'm going to transfer that over here to our plate, set it aside, and then we're going to add the toppings. So I reserved a couple of these candy bars. I'm just going to chop those up. Nothing scientific here, just chop into nice little pieces. Perfect. We're going to add some of these. Malt balls. This is a little trickier, but you just kind of carefully cut into them like this. So it's a little more liquidy than we had it before because I just kind of want to drizzle this. So you can tell it's pretty syrupy. I think it took about a third a cup, and maybe I put it on there for about 20 seconds and stirred it a couple times. Okay, and you gotta be pretty quick because we're working with ice cream here, so we're just gonna kind of drizzle this on top just to make it look pretty. Again, you're totally freehanding this, so it's just whatever looks pretty to you. Just make sure you get it kind of all over so you have that nice pretty color. That looks great. Wonderful. And then you add your toppings. Excuse the fudge fingers here, I'm kind of covered in all this stuff. And you just scatter these around. Look how beautiful that looks. Okay, and then you're going to want to pop it into the freezer for just a minute to get it set. And then you are going to be ready to serve. So we'll pop that back into the freezer for just a few seconds. Well, maybe a few minutes. Voila, the perfect ice cream birthday cake. And we're going to cut this really quickly because my family members are standing around looking at me like, cut this cake, lady. So we're doing it. And it may not be the easiest thing to take out, but man, look at that. You got cake layer, your ice cream layer, the whipped cream, all the good stuff in between.
Thanks,
Yeah,
love.
I think my son's gonna be happy.